Good day. This week's Semper Fortis Jiu Jitsu question of the week comes from one of my students who asked, anytime somebody asks me before a tournament, do you have any last second advice, Saad? I tell them, remember to breathe. And I've been telling that to people for years, and I realized I never explained why that's my number one advice to somebody before they go and compete. Remember to breathe. And the reason it is because the number one mistake that I see people make when they compete, not only in boxing or MMA or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments, judo tournaments, is they hold their breath, they take a deep breath, and then they explode into a move. Whether that's a double leg takedown, a 4 or 5 punch combination, they hold their breath and they forget to breathe. And when they forget to breathe, that causes them to fatigue much faster. So anytime somebody says, hey, you got any last second tournament advice before I step out on the mat? It's like, yeah, bro, remember to breathe. And that's something that has helped me throughout my jiu-jitsu journey. And even when I used to box in the 80s, we used to focus on exhaling. So a lot of times you hear boxers throw punches and they go pss, pss, pss. And that's because if you exhale, your body will automatically inhale. But what people often do is they take a deep breath, inhale, they hold it, they do their move, their combination, whatever, and they start breathing again. And that's taking a big cardio hit every time you do that, because anything that changes your breathing pattern is going to affect your cardio. And as the old saying goes, cardio makes cowards of all of us. So once your cardio goes, you're done. So you have to preserve your cardio. So a lot of times when people go into jiu-jitsu tournaments, what I'll see is they will try to do a move. They'll be so intense into it because it's a competition. It's naturally to be intense, and they'll forget to breathe, and their cardio goes a lot faster because of that error. So what I would recommend to you, to anybody watching, is remember to breathe. And the place to start remembering it in your practice is your everyday training, when you're in here rolling or you're sparring in your boxing or MMA, whatever you're doing, remembering to breathe. The more you focus on remembering to breathe, and what has helped me over the years is instead of focusing on the inhale, because if you focus on the inhale, you'll have a tendency to hold your breath and or hyperventilate. Focus on the exhale. So if you go, your body would automatically inhale and take the breath. There's people that are much smarter on this than I am. They can explain it better. You can look up some videos. I know Rickson Gracie does it. They say a lot of times when you roll with Rickson, he sounds like a train because he's constantly exhaling. And the Alvaro Romano with Gymnastica Natural, he talks about proper breathing. But it's just critical. It's something that we take for granted because it's like, well, I've been breathing since I came out the womb and the doctor smacked me on the butt. And it's like, and you start crying, you hear the baby crying. It's like, oh, he's taking his first breath. Now he's breathing. He or she is breathing. So we think, oh, I know how to breathe. Been breathing, since the day I was born. But a lot of times we breathe incorrectly by holding our breath or forgetting to breathe. And hence we affect our cardio. And you'll see an improvement if you just focus on your breathing when you train and drill, and then when you go into a tournament, remember to breathe. It's the best advice I can give you. All right, got a question for next week? Feel free to fire below. And if you have anything that you do prior to a tournament or anything that helps you remember to breathe, feel free to make some comments below. We'll all learn and grow from it. And until next week, ciao.